The media has a sycophantic need to justify Republican stupidity and to give them every chance around the world to tell us how we should actually think. Salon, usually rational accounting of what's actually going on, published this bizarre and delusional rant from a so called former Republican. Now, he is telling us that all the delusional conspiracy theories that he believed at one time, but Democrats are bad and he doesn't agree with our policies. Did they bother to ask him to explain himself? Why he believed all the delusional whack job stuff that Republicans have said? No, they didn't. They just posted his stuff like it is reasonable that we should listen to this guy, as he is still advocating for you giving him money after he spent decades pushing Republican propaganda and supporting Trump, because you'll really enjoy this. He said, I supported Donald Trump. I really did, and without much reservation. I believe the fallacy that a Hillary Clinton victory and then 4 years later a Joe Biden victory would mean the end of America and the start of a permanent democratic rule over our nation. He literally was so in the tank for the Republicans and refused to believe any reality whatsoever that he believed that Democrats would seize control of the United States. This is the level of his intellect. However, the media brings him right to your door and gives him a platform to spew this stupidity. He goes on. Democrats were importing foreigners to win elections forever. Leftists were coming for our guns. Nationalism was patriotism. There was a shadowy network of censors who teleologically purpose in life was to suppress Republicans or conservative points of view. Predatory men were using women bathrooms everywhere. And of course, Barack Obama was the worst president in the history and made Jimmy Carter look like George Washington. He continues on with all the idiotic things that he believed. January 6th insurrection, he thought it was bad, but everybody was overblowing it. But he continues, does this mean I agree with all the Democrat policy positions? Absolutely not. And that's exactly the point. This moment of necessary unity will require those of us to come together who have legitimate disagreements on policy. What legitimate disagreements on policy can someone like this have when they spent decades in Republicans' circles being lied to nonstop? What exactly does he believe? Now, does he believe that Democrats aren't coming for his guns? He said he believed Democrats are coming for his guns, but now does he no longer believe that because it's not true? But he is put forward. He even believed when the pandemic started, he told other Trumpers that DeSantis was going to turn away from these COVID deniers and anti-vaxxers and do the right thing. So, up until a couple years ago, he had no understanding of what was actually going on. But now we should listen to him and have any thought that what he says matters? When you're in a cult for so long, it takes you decades to wipe out all their delusional thinking. He's had less than 2 years, and the media is holding him up as if he is something that we should listen to. It is not. And Salon should be ashamed of itself for even considering posting this guy's delusional rantings. But he goes on. He has now have the solution for all the things that now bother us. He goes on, my new organization, Listen, Lead, Unite, is dedicated to healing America's political trauma by bringing together communities and elected leaders to collaborate on nonpartisan economic, education, and quality of life solutions. Isn't that putting the pedophile in charge of the little children? I mean, economics. Democrats are the ones with a functioning economic policy. They're the ones whose presidents actually build the economy, not crash them into the ground. Education. Which states are better educated? Blue states. Republican states need to be de-educated because you have to be dumb to vote for a Republican. So this would be another reason why Salon shouldn't post this guy's rantings, because he's clearly not smart enough to not fall into the Republicans' delusions. How about quality of life? You know, blue states have better roads, better education, better health care. They looked at 70 metrics, and by every single one, living in a blue state is better. Republican states have higher death. And that was before COVID went through and wiped them out. So, what exactly should we take from this guy, other than the media will bend over backwards to justify giving Republicans a platform? He also believes that humans, Homo sapiens, are a binary species. We're good and we're evil, and there's no in between. And that is a Republican talking point. That has been basis of their theory for decades, where they're good, Democrats are evil, and there is no in between. They railed against anyone that had a different philosophy of life than them, saying that you can't have a different philosophy of life because there's only one good. So he's clearly still in the delusional cult of the Republicans, yet Salon brings him on, gives him a platform, so he can raise money for what exactly? To support him? Because clearly he's not smart enough, not good enough, and nowhere near have left the Republican cult for anyone to listen to anything that he says. But as he says, we need to unite, and he is raising money. He not only does that, but he takes another swing at Democrats. He writes, it takes for granted many historical Democratic voting blocs, such as religious minorities, LGBTQ citizens, Black and Latino voters, and it almost entirely ignores rural America. These are all blatantly Republican talking points that have no basis in reality. So what exactly are we getting out of this guy, except that former Republicans, even when they realize the cult is destroying the United States, still shouldn't be listened to? Or we should be much more critical of even the formerly moderate sites to see what else that they are putting up that should be ignored entirely. So if you like those videos, please help. The YouTube algorithm is horribly biased against, progressives. And the Republicans have
massive amounts of money just to buy it off. So every time you like, every time you put a comment down below, helps us out. So like, subscribe, and if you really want to help the environment, down below is a link to a GoFundMe page where it has a brand new power generation that is 0% carbon emission and one of the cheapest productions of electricity the world has ever had. So go down, help us out.